The cold shoulder heard around Hollywood. When Meghan Markle personally reached out to one of America's most beloved icons, she wasn't expecting a hard no. But that's exactly what she got from Dolly Parton, and the fallout was anything but quiet. According to recent reports, the country music legend didn't just decline the invitation to appear on Meghan's Netflix series, her team was reportedly furious that the request was even made. So, what really happened? Why would a star as universally adored as Dolly Parton distance herself from a royal-turned-celebrity trying to rebrand in Hollywood? The answer, it turns out, says a lot about reputation, power, and how quickly the public can turn. Because behind the smiling face of with love, Meghan, behind the pastel-colored cooking segments and warm-hearted conversations, something much more calculated was at play. And when Dolly saw it, she walked away. But was this just a missed opportunity, or a warning sign of something deeper going on with Meghan Markle's empire? Meghan's Netflix power play. When Meghan and Prince Harry stepped back from royal duties, it wasn't just about escaping tradition, it was about building something new. A brand, an empire. And at the center of that plan was a $100 million deal with Netflix. The streaming giant was banking on their star power, and Meghan wasted no time getting to work. Her latest project, With Love, Meghan, was crafted as a soft-focused lifestyle series. Think celebrity interviews, home-cooked meals, and elegant conversations about wellness, motherhood, and personal growth. But make no mistake, this wasn't just another feel-good show. It was a carefully curated attempt to reposition Meghan from controversial royal exile to a trusted voice in lifestyle media. The guests in Season 1? Familiar names, safe bets. Her longtime friend, Abigail Spencer, actress Mindy Kaling, people who already knew and supported her. But for Meghan's vision to really land, she needed more than friendly faces. She needed icons. She needed names that mattered. And that's where Dolly Parton came in. The Dolly request that sparked backlash. Behind the scenes, Meghan's team had their sights set on a dream guest, Dolly Parton. With her near-universal appeal, decades-long career, and squeaky-clean public image, Dolly wasn't just another celebrity. She was a statement. Landing her would have instantly boosted the show's credibility, especially in the lifestyle space Meghan was trying to dominate. But when the request went out, the response wasn't just a polite decline. According to entertainment insider Kinsey Schofield, Dolly's team was livid, and it wasn't about scheduling. It was about strategy. They reportedly saw the invitation not as an opportunity, but as a risk. They don't want to jeopardize Dolly's reputation, her Q score, her popularity, Schofield claimed. And at the heart of it, they believed Meghan was using Dolly's image to legitimize her own. Because for someone like Dolly, beloved by red states and blue, admired by the working class and Hollywood elites alike, aligning with Meghan Markle wasn't just a PR decision, it was a reputational gamble. And Dolly's team wasn't willing to play. The risk to Dolly's reputation. Dolly Parton isn't just a singer, she's a cultural institution. For over 5 decades, she's managed to do what few in the spotlight ever could: stay loved, stay unproblematic, and stay above the noise. Her appeal cuts across generations, political lines, and industries. And in a world obsessed with tearing down public figures, Dolly has remained untouchable. That's exactly why her team reacted the way they did. The fear wasn't that Meghan's show would fail, it was that Dolly's presence could be weaponized. A single appearance might be seen not as a collaboration, but as an endorsement. And with Meghan's public image still tangled in controversy, that was a line Dolly's camp didn't want to cross. Entertainment insiders mentioned her Q score, a measure of how well-liked and trusted a celebrity is. Dolly's is one of the highest in the industry. Meghan's, on the other hand, has become increasingly polarized. To Dolly's team, this wasn't a creative opportunity, it was a credibility trap. And in their eyes, the ask wasn't about honoring Dolly's legacy, it was about borrowing it. A pattern? Meghan's difficult label Dolly's rejection didn't come out of nowhere. It followed a growing pattern. Meghan Markle has been battling whispers about her reputation for years. Even before she stepped away from royal duties, headlines labeled her difficult, demanding, and controlling behind the scenes. Former palace staff leaked claims of emotional outbursts and unrealistic expectations, fueling a media firestorm that followed her into Hollywood. So when news of Dolly's refusal surfaced, it tapped into something familiar. The idea that, once again, Meghan had pushed too far. To her defenders, though, it's a tired narrative. They point to glowing reports from With Love, Meghan production staff. One crew member told People magazine that Meghan was warm, approachable, and made every person on set feel included. even production assistants, who are usually invisible on projects this big. Others described her as flexible, collaborative, and even open to feedback, letting go of ideas that didn't land. But these two portraits, the divisive diva versus the team player, can't both be true. And it begs the question, is Meghan misunderstood? Or is the image she's selling very different from the reality behind the scenes? Guests who said yes, and why they matter less. While Dolly's silence spoke volumes, others did show up for Meghan's Netflix debut, but their presence didn't exactly shake the industry. Familiar names like Mindy Kaling and Abigail Spencer filled the episodes. They were supportive, kind, and aligned with Meghan's vision. But they weren't risky bookings. They were safe bets. Mindy is a known advocate for women's empowerment. Abigail is a longtime friend and former Suits co-star. Their involvement didn't spark controversy, but it didn't expand the show's reach either. These were voices already in Meghan's corner, not outsiders lending credibility to a new platform. To the audience, it looked less like a bold new concept, and more like a circle of comfort. And that's where Dolly's absence hits harder. Dolly would have been a headline, a statement. Her appearance would have shattered the notion that Meghan's influence was fading, and instead, it reinforced it. Because when a cultural icon quietly declines, and others close to you fill the gaps, the message becomes clear. The biggest names aren't buying in. Meghan's reputation crisis. For Meghan Markle, every move in the public eye feels like a balancing act, and lately, that balance has been slipping. What began as a bold break from the royal family has morphed into something murkier, a constant tug-of-war between reinvention and damage control. And the Dolly Parton episode? It wasn't just a missed opportunity, it was a flashing red light, because despite the millions from Netflix, the high-profile production, and the press coverage, with Love, Meghan didn't land the way it was supposed to. Critics called it flat, audiences called it forgettable, and even the show's renewal for a second season didn't spark much excitement. It stirred rumors of Netflix pushing forward out of obligation rather than enthusiasm. Meanwhile, Meghan's brand, carefully curated to blend Hollywood glam with relatable mom-next-door vibes, continues to face resistance. Whether it's fair or not, her name carries baggage. And in an industry that thrives on likability, even a hint of division can be deadly. Dolly's refusal wasn't just personal, it was symbolic. It exposed the tension Meghan has yet to resolve. She wants to be both a powerful voice and a safe one, both bold and universally embraced. But public trust doesn't work like that. You can't curate your way into authenticity. Was this about strategy or desperation? On paper, reaching out to Dolly Parton made perfect sense. She's a household name, universally adored, and completely unproblematic, the kind of guest that instantly elevates any show she touches. But the more you look at it, the more Meghan's request starts to feel less like smart strategy and more like a last-ditch effort. Because if With Love, Meghan had truly resonated on its own, it wouldn't need the stamp of approval from someone like Dolly. It wouldn't need to borrow authenticity. It would be authentic. Instead, the outreach felt like a shortcut, a way to buy instant trust from viewers who still weren't convinced. And when that shortcut didn't work, it exposed something bigger. Maybe Meghan isn't just chasing relevance. Maybe she's trying to prove something. Not just to Hollywood, or to the press, but to the public that's still split down the middle on whether they even trust her. It's a tough position, because when your brand is built on image, and that image starts to crack, the scramble to hold it all together can look a lot like desperation. The bigger picture. 2 icons, 1 lesson. In the end, this wasn't just a story about a rejected invitation. It was a collision of 2 public figures with completely different relationships to fame. Dolly Parton built her legacy over decades, not by chasing attention, but by mastering the art of humility, consistency, and knowing exactly when not to speak. She doesn't court controversy, she sidesteps drama. And that's exactly why people trust her. Her silence speaks louder than most people's interviews. Meghan, on the other hand, has spent the last few years doing the opposite, speaking out, telling her side, reclaiming her narrative. But somewhere along the way, that narrative started to feel scripted. And when someone like Dolly declines to co-sign it, people notice. Because when you strip away the cameras, the PR teams, and the polished image, the question becomes painfully simple. Who do people believe? And in this case, the answer might say more about Meghan's future than her past.